Good morning. I am Brian Downs, and I assert that this is a republic if you can keep it. It is September 27th, 2025. It's about 8:30 in the morning. James Comey has been indicted. James Comey, of course, former director at the FBI, and someone who President Donald Trump has had it out for a long time. Comey has been indicted on obviously trumped up and corrupt charges that are the sort of bald-faced malfeasance and malignancy that is exactly on the Trump brand. Donald Trump is on a rampage to punish everyone and anyone who has ever bedeviled him or criticized him or tried to bring him to account for his many crimes and treacheries. This is obvious nonsense. First of all, this is taking place in the Eastern District of Virginia. Eric Siebert, who was the prosecutor there, refused to bring a case against Comey because there was no case. There's no evidence of a crime that Comey lied to Congress. These are the alleged charges. Teams of legal professionals said, oh, there's no crime there. Siebert was forced out. Siebert says that he resigns. Donald Trump, of course, claims that he fired him. But if Donald Trump told me that the moon orbits the Earth, I would check an astrological reference. I mean to say astronomical reference. Then, Donald Trump appoints Lindsay Halligan to replace Siebert. Lindsay Halligan is 36 years old, rather young for a person in her position. Competed in the Miss Colorado USA pageant twice. So, she is a remarkably good-looking woman. She was an insurance lawyer in Florida until she caught Donald Trump's eye on a golf course one day, and now she's a prosecutor. Although she has no prosecutorial experience at all, she has never prosecuted a case before now. This is, of course, ridiculous. Why is Ms. Halligan, this MAGA cultist and Trump toady, in charge of this? Because no one else would touch it. Ms. Halligan signed the necessary documents. Ms. Halligan appeared before the grand jury. This is all highly unusual. Typically, some subordinate of the person in Ms. Halligan's position would actually carry the case into the courtroom. The reason no subordinate is doing it here is very likely because no subordinate would agree to it, because the case is obvious nonsense, obviously an abuse of power and a crime in itself. Prosecutors have a responsibility to only bring cases that they have a sincere belief that they can prove beyond a reasonable doubt in court. To do otherwise is to behave in a dilatory way, to jam up the court system with nonsensical cases against people who are probably innocent. And it is in and of itself an offense for which lawyers can be censured, even disbarred. So nobody else would touch it. So Ms. Halligan, mega cultist, the hatchet woman sent in specifically for the purpose, takes it in front of a grand jury. Why do grand juries exist? Grand juries exist, in theory, to prevent absurd abuses of power by prosecutors. What happens is, with the grand jury is, the prosecutor takes the case into the grand jury and the prosecutor makes their case to the grand jury. There is no defense presented. All this is designed to do, no one argues against the case being presented. The prosecutor gets to hand tailor the case they're making, and no one contradicts them. So there's the famous saying, of course, that a grand jury would indict a bag of popcorn. The idea is that this process prevents prosecutors from plowing forward with ridiculous, foolish, or simply politically motivated cases, because if you're simply lying as a prosecutor, the grand jury is supposed to detect it. So she goes in front of a grand jury. She gets the bare minimum majority from the grand jury necessary to proceed on 2 out of the 3 counts. This is highly unusual. Grand juries are usually anonymous, and grand juries very rarely approve of some counts and not others. All of this shows that this case is nonsensical. There's no case there. There's no there. There's no reason to think that James Comey committed a crime or lied to Congress. But Donald Trump as we know, is on his revenge rampage. This is all well known. It's not what I want to talk about today. What I want to talk about today is how stupid this is. I am appalled and heartened by how bad Trump and his cabal are at what they do. I've said this before and I'm saying it again. What is happening here? You're taking this case to court. Comey, the case will almost certainly fall apart. The chances of Comey being convicted of anything are very near zero. The only way that could happen is if the judge, the jury, and everyone involved in the process is totally corrupt and a MAGA cultist. This is unlikely. Trump and his cabal tend to fail in court. If Comey is convicted, it will be clear to all that the conviction is a lie. In any case, you've just made James Comey into a folk hero. You have abused your power. You have committed crimes in bringing this sham case. You have piled shame upon yourself and your organization, and you have accomplished nothing. Now, of course, Donald Trump has made a public statement that more prosecutions will be coming of anyone who has ever tried to smack his hand out of the cookie jar when he's stealing, lying, and defrauding, including with America's enemies. Donald Trump makes no secret of the fact that he is simply abusing the power of the presidency in totally unprecedented ways to frighten into silence. This cannot work. There is no path to victory through the Comey, air quotes, indictment. And yet, they carry on. Donald Trump does, like Adolf Hitler, have a finely tuned sense for finding people who will do what they're told. This is not a skill that I would put at the top of my resume.